Still watching Hardball, and for those who just joined us, good evening. A shake-up in the UAAP Seniors Basketball as the league is set to implement a one import per team policy next season. This will affect teams that have multiple foreign players in their lineups or are in their training pool. That's because the UAAP is targeting a total ban on imports to give Filipinos or foreigners more chances at earning scholarships in the UAAP's member schools. How will this affect the 8 teams competing in the seniors basketball tournament? We're joined here in the studio by UAAP basketball analyst and blogger, and we welcome him back, Enzo Flojo. Welcome back, buddy.
Parang ganun lang eh, no? Okay, let's get down to business and first establish
what the rule is. What the rule is. Yeah, for those who don't know, right?
Yeah.
So let's tell everybody.
So for the next season, instead of having 2 imports in your roster, all UAAP teams are required to have just 1 import.
Okay, when we say import or a foreigner athlete in the team, because we're classifying the foreigners differently from the foreigner athletes.
Right. They are different, yes.
They're different.
The Cameroonians, the Nigerians, who play.
Vis-a-vis the Filipino foreigners who have Filipino blood, which makes them eligible to play
as locals
in the UAAP. Now, when you say foreign players, foreign athletes, there are only allowed 2 of them on the team and cannot play at the same time.
Yes. Right. That's the existing rule.
That's the existing rule.
Current one. But next year,
next year, only 1 import
in the lineup.
In the lineup. Okay. And so no alternate anymore. So like we have UE with Charles Mami and Mustafa Arafat. That can't happen anymore. And I like what you asked, sir, about what an import is, because even if someone like Kirk Long, who finished high school in the Philippines, but he's an American, he's still counted
a foreigner
as an import.
athlete.
Yes. So even those kinds of players, school can only have 1 of those for next year.
And then, of course, the impact next year, in your opinion, is would like you said, UE can't do that anymore. And what else are you seeing in terms of the impact?
What school programs basically have still have existing scholars?
Oh, a lot. Most of the UAAP schools.
But let's talk about next year first, because iba yung magiging effect in 3, 4, 5 years, right? When there's a total ban already, and the existing imports are going to graduate already or fill out their eligibility.
Wala na yung recruitment. They've already stopped the recruitment.
Exactly. So what are you seeing here down the line?
Well, for many of the schools who have more than 1 import in their training pool, or reservists list, or the residency, it'll force the coaches to really pick just 1. It'll make their jobs much more difficult. And you're taking a bigger risk, because you take this import in your lineup, what if he gets injured? You have no alternate anymore. You're going to be forced to rely on your local. So if you're 1 man down, it's going to be a different kind of strategy that they're going to have to use for next season.
What does this present vis-a-vis the opportunities for, as we've said, the local players? And will this really help improve the level of play?
Well, if we're talking about a total ban of imports, in the foreseeable future, I'm not a big fan of it, precisely because of that. I don't think it's going to raise the level of play in the UAAP. I don't think it's going to address the issue of parity as well.
But has it done so while it's in existence?
I think having imports, at least in theory, but as I've observed also, it raises the level of play. You have locals like Kiefer Avena, Geronting, playing against guys who are 6'8", 6'7", athletic, really skilled players, and guys like Kiefer, Jeron, they get challenged, by the prospect of playing against these imports. They don't back down or shy away from that. If we ban imports totally, I'm afraid it's going to send the wrong message or mindset. Because we have foreigners playing, we have to feel threatened and defensive. The mindset I want to propagate is, you have imports here, so let's challenge them. Let's see how our locals can compete against these imports.
But having said that, are you okay though with, let's say, 1 import versus the 2 import setup?
Oh, I'm okay with the cap. But with the cap being 1 import or 2 imports, I'm actually going for just 1 import
muna sana.
per roster. The 1 import per roster. In theory, it should curb the perceived over-reliance
Yeah.
on imports by maybe some teams. And again, it'll force the coaches to really pick just one foreign player from the pool that they have.
Okay, let's also remember that partly why they came up with this rule, level of play wasn't really the main concern here.
Yeah.
Diba?
Winning.
Yeah. No. It's the opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
Scholarships.
Yes.
The promotion of Filipino athletes.
Yeah.
More than addressing level of play per se. Correct? Having said that, what is your stand when that is the case?
Well, capping will actually help the Filipino athletes improve. I think totally banning imports, however, I think would be counterproductive. And I think it also skirts the issue from what the real contention is, which is unregulated recruitment,
Eligibility.
Right. Do these student athletes actually fulfill their dual roles of being athletes and being students?
Will it affect it being a spectator sport, in your opinion, you think? Will the games be less exciting?
To a certain extent, maybe, because the foreigners tend to be very athletic. Again, they raise the level of play.
They're very visual.
Yes, but there's also a certain segment of the fan base, I think, that wants to see, that's attracted to the notion of having purely Filipino.
Maybe even excited.
But let's throw this onto the mix before we our pro director gets to tell us to cut it off. There is also the notion that, number one, these foreigners come to the country to find to get an education. Now, why will we deny them the opportunity to study?
But that's, of course, the debate on the other side. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the debate on the other side. Why will you? It's like us going to the Americas to study.
And then there's the other side that will say, do they really study? So how do you look at that? How do you keep an eye on that? Those are two sides of it.
Those are the arguments.
Yeah.
So how do you actually say we will now ban this because what message are you saying? That you don't want to give people from other countries an opportunity to study in your scholastic institutions? Maybe because your scholastic institutions are better than where they come from.
Yeah, so that's also another aspect of the whole issue, sir. No? You have schools accepting foreigners as students, but telling them, oh, sorry, you can't play for our team. So it's a little unfair from that perspective. But again, like what Boom said, the main issue is, do these recruited athletes, whether they're foreigners or Filipinos, do they really fulfill their roles as student athletes? And for me, the real issue is the UAAP or whatever college league, they have to monitor these things closer.
Kulang ang
oras natin.
Isang oras na usapan yan. This will go on.
Oh yeah. It's the debate is gonna go on.
It's gonna be very interesting.
But thank you for coming, Enzo. As always, maraming salamat.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your thoughts.
Okay, and for our last shot tonight, American hurdler Joel Brown once said, well, biblical challenges are really just a test to see how much you deserve success. I like that. And so it is.
Thank you for watching. Thank you, Enzo, for guesting again. Remember, San Beda, Lasal, tomorrow, 4 p.m., ABS-CBN Sports in Action. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
And you're calling that game,
Yeah.
aren't you? Oh, it's got fun. That'll be fun. And your partner will be?
Marco Benitez.
Oh, that's going to be. You wanted Mark here for this discussion, but, obviously. Okay, we also want to say happy birthday to Donna Crame. And that greeting comes from your direct Tito, from Tito, our director, Robles. Remember that name? Tito Robles, now director, soon a legend. Take care, everybody. I'm Boy Season. Join us again next Wednesday when we hit hard and it's strong when we play Hardball. Good night.
Phil, see you next week.
Phil, whatever you're doing, do it well, buddy.